South Africa Sports Minister, why I don't want Nigeria to qualify for 2026 World Cup. There is a conspiracy by CAF and FIFA to sabotage the Super Eagles of Nigeria's chances of qualifying from the best losers playoff in the African series in order to book a place in the Interconfederation playoff in the United States of America next year, March. In this video, I will bring you up to speed with the latest on the semi-final matches between Gabon versus Nigeria in the World Cup playoff, and also the match official for that particular encounter have been released by CAF and FIFA, and that have actually sparked lots of talking points alongside with what the South African Sport Minister Gettingfrom actually said sometime in October. So stick around as I take you through the latest in African football. We Africans, we are the problem of Africa. I use the word we because personally I am an African and I know I am part of the problem we are facing as a continent. Why did I make this statement? I came across this report by The Cable dated October 19, 2025, after the group phase of the World Cup was concluded. And this is what the headline or the caption on The Cable talked about. South African Sport Minister, why I don't want Nigeria to qualify for 2026 World Cup. Gettingfrom, South Africa's Minister of Sport, Art and Culture, says he does not want Super Eagles of Nigeria to qualify for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Mackenzie spoke during interview with Radio 947 in Johannesburg, where he accused Nigeria of attempting to sabotage South Africa's own recent qualification campaign. When I read through this report by The Cable, only one thing comes to mind. And the question I have to ask the South African Sport Minister, is it the Super Eagles of Nigeria that was actually playing the qualifying matches for the Bafana Bafana of South Africa? Or is it Nigerians that are the technical crew to the Bafana Bafana of South Africa? The answer is no. You see, when I look at this comment or this statement by the South African Sport Minister, the only thing I could describe in all of this, it shows how incompetent the Sport Minister is as a minister of a country. It just shows how incompetent and misfit occupying public office. What is he trying to say, or what was he trying to allege in this particular report? Nigeria was attempting to sabotage the effort of South Africa from qualifying for next year's World Cup. What happened? What transpired? Because during the qualifying matches in the group stage, South Africa, the Bafana Bafana, was given match deduction of 3 points. And what actually happened? Sometime in March, South Africa, in one of their qualifying matches, played Lesotho, and they actually defeated Lesotho by 2-0 away from home. Now, prior to that match, South African midfielder Teboho Makona, I guess I pronounced that well, was ineligible to play in that particular encounter. But the Bafana Bafana head coach fielded in an ineligible player to take part in that particular encounter, because the rule states that in the qualifying rounds of matches, if a player picks 2 yellow cards in 2 different matches, according to the rule, you will miss the next match. And the South African midfielder, talking about Teboho Makona, has actually picked up a yellow card previously against Benin Republic and also against Zimbabwe. And that automatically means that the midfielder is supposed to miss the next match that South Africa will play in the group phase. But then, what happened? None of the technical crew, not even the head coach, could actually keep accurate data of their players, their national team players, and as such, fielded an ineligible player, and FIFA actually identified that, and South Africa were punished by point deduction. And that was how South Africa were given point deduction, and from 17 points, they dropped to 14 points. And that was before their match, second to last match against Zimbabwe. So, for the sport minister to come out to say that Nigeria was trying to sabotage or attempting to sabotage the effort of South Africa from qualifying for next year's World Cup, talking about the 2026 World Cup that is being co-hosted by the United States of America, Mexico, and Canada, is an implication on his own side as a sport minister in a country, and it actually shows incompetence in the part of the sport minister. Because as sport minister, I know his office is not responsible for keeping data of players. The head coach is there. South Africa has technical crew. And as such, one person who is supposed to be in charge of keeping the players' data failed on his part. And even the head coach of Bafana Bafana could not remember that that particular midfielder is not eligible to play in that particular game, and yet went ahead to field that player in that particular game. And they were penalized. They got punished with point deduction. As sport minister, if you were competent in your office, what you ought to have done is that head should have rolled. But why is it that head did not roll? That's simply because misfits occupying public offices. Misfits occupying public office. That is just what I could describe it to be. Now, but when I read further in the report, I just felt that the comment he actually made will not even hold water. Because when such person makes such comment, you have to know where it is coming from. And why did I say that? Check the report from the cable. Mackenzie, a former gangster turned minister, claimed Nigeria worked against South Africa's qualification hopes. Hence, the reason he hopes Super Eagles don't qualify for the prestigious tournament. Now I can see the angle where the statement is coming from. A former gangster turned sport minister. What else do you expect? A former gangster. Let's put it in context. Who is a gangster? A gangster is a member of a criminal gang. In most cases, you can see a gangster can be a mobster. A gangster can be a thug. And that is the person that is occupying the office of the sport ministry in South Africa. So, his statement doesn't hold water. But here is my take. In 6 days' time, the playoff matches will go down to be hosted by Morocco. And what I expect the Super Eagles of Nigeria to do is to go all out and play this competition like they are already playing the World Cup final. And I'm pretty sure we have what it takes to book a place for the Interconfederation playoff next year. And to the sport minister of South Africa, one thing I'll also tell you is, when you are big, you are big. The Super Eagles of Nigeria is way bigger than the Bafana Bafana of South Africa. Way bigger. So, when we made our debut in the World Cup in 1994, Bafana Bafana made our debut in 1998. In 2002, the Super Eagles of Nigeria was there, hosted by Japan, Korea. South Africa was there. But after 2002 World Cup, South Africa has never appeared in any World Cup tournament until 2010 when they were the host nation. The Super Eagles of Nigeria missed out in Germany 2006, were part of South Africa 2010, were part of Brazil 2014, were part of Russia 2018, missed out in Qatar 2022. So when it comes to football, the Super Eagles of Nigeria is way bigger than the Bafana Bafana of South Africa. You can take that to the bank. Now, why did I say there is a conspiracy theory against the Super Eagles of Nigeria? The match officials for the semi-final matches in the African playoffs has been released by CAF and by FIFA. And that have actually sparked lots of talking points. The Super Eagles of Nigeria will face Gabon in the first leg of the semi-final on the 13th of November. But there is lots of talking points regarding the match officials that will take center stage in that particular game. And Here's what the report is saying. CAF appoints South Africa officials to officiate the CAF FIFA World Cup playoff between Nigeria and Gabon. The center referee is Tom Agbonjile, South Africa. Assistant referee Siwele Zakele, Tusi Granville, South Africa. VAR Makalima Akona, Zenith, South Africa. Referee assessor Ajovi Hugius Allen from Benin Republic. The big question now is, why will CAF appoint officials from teams that were together in the same World Cup qualifying group to officiate a big match like this? Is this a plot for Nigeria not to qualify? Because like the South African sport minister said, that he doesn't want the Super Eagles of Nigeria to qualify for next year's World Cup in the United States, hosted by Canada and Mexico. The report went on to say, FIFA has appointed South African referees to officiate the World Cup qualifiers playoff between Nigeria and Gabon this month. Tom Agbongle, center referee, Zakale Siwele, assistant referee, Akona Makaweli, the VAR. Putting South Africans in key. The center referee, the assistant referee, and in charge of VAR in the first leg of that semi-final match of the best losers. Sport Radio, Brila FM, a well-known sports radio station in Nigeria, Lagos, reported this also. The officials for Nigerian Gabon World Cup qualifier have been confirmed with a full team from South Africa set to take charge. Leading the match will be Agbongele Tom as center referee, assisted by Zakawele Tutsi Granville Siwele, assistant referee, while Akona Zenith Makalima will handle VAR duties. The referee assessor Ugu Allen Ajovi hails from Benin Republic. What is that? What is CAF and FIFA actually thinking? Now, I don't know the criteria being used to select match officials between countries. But geographically, Gabon is from Central Africa. Nigeria, geographically, is in West Africa. South Africa is from the southern part of Africa, of course. If South Africa was not in the same group as Nigeria, then there would be no problem. But the group phase of the competition just concluded about a month ago, and for the playoff to take center stage, CAF and FIFA is appointing a referee from South Africa to take center stage of such big game. A country that were in the same group as the Super Eagles of Nigeria. And also the referee assessor hails from Benin Republic. The same country that the Super Eagles of Nigeria played a last match against and defeated them by 4-0. I mean, we can actually get things right in Africa. We shouldn't always be one-sided. What happens to a referee from North Africa to take center stage of the officiating? Like I said, if South Africa was not in the same group with Nigeria, then there is no problem. It will be Gabon from Central Africa, Nigeria, West Africa, then referee is coming from South Africa. There is no big deal about that. But having come out of the same group with the Super Eagles of Nigeria, and you are picking referee from that country to officiate such a crucial game in the playoff rounds in the African series of World Cup, and in that country, I know fully well that CAF and FIFA might have read the report, the interview the sport minister had with a radio house in Johannesburg, that he doesn't want the Super Eagles of Nigeria to qualify for next year's World Cup. But yet, they are picking up the match officials to come from South Africa. Come on now. Come on, Africa, we can do better. CAF can do better. So the CAF president, Dr. Patrice Motsepe, this is not an ideal thing to do. I don't know the criteria of choosing referee, but South Africa is a nation that plays in the group phase of the World Cup qualifiers alongside the Super Eagles of Nigeria. And also, the match assessor, hails from Benin Republic, was also in the same group with the Super Eagles of Nigeria. And as such, one can describe this to be a conspiracy against the Super Eagles of Nigeria. But trust Nigeria, we are actually We have to talk because we have the voices to talk. Check this report. Breaking. Nigeria have expressed concern over CAF's decisions to appoint a team of officials from nations in which they were in direct rivalry with during the World Cup qualifier for their playoff semi-finals against Gabon. Nigeria has to raise concern because this is not right. It is not the right thing to do. Even geographically, you can say they are correct. But if you look at it, ideally, these countries were in the same group with the Super Eagles of Nigeria. And as such, a referee from the North Africa would have been best preferred to take center stage in this particular encounter. What do you make of the situation on ground with the referees to officiate Nigeria versus Gabon's playoff match in the ongoing World Cup qualifying matches? What do you make of this? Is this an ideal thing to do? Or the Super Eagles of Nigeria should just keep calm, go into the team and showcase what we can do? Drop your thoughts down below. Okay, before we end this video, I have to give credit to one player who have actually been, respect to Mamadou Sarr. And what did Mamadou Sarr? Check this. What did Mamadou Sarr actually do? Check this report. Mamadou Sarr, 20-year-old, will play for Senegal. Fantastic news for Senegal and for the African football. Absolutely. Big respect to Mamadou Sarr. Mamadou Sarr is a Chelsea player. He was signed from RC Strasbourg and was loaned back to RC Strasbourg. And currently, he plays as a centre-back for Strasbourg alongside Doucouré in the French Ligue 1 and have been doing very great. And at 20 years, for him to have actually identified with his roots and said, I will be playing my international football with the national team of Senegal ahead of France. Big up and big respect to Mamadou Sarr. Big up and big respect to Mamadou Sarr. That's a great one. And which means he has committed his future to playing his international duties with the Senegalese national team. At just 20, he has a long way to go with the Senegalese national team. Not some sort of African players whereby they will be invited by their countries, come and play for us, but because they are also eligible to play in a country whereby they were given birth to, or they actually got nationalized there, whichever way they got the citizenship, we say they want to play for such a country. And when they have gone past the age, when they have gone past their peak, and that is when they will remember that there is a country I can still run back to and play international football. To such country, I will say reject them. And that is one concern John Obi Mikel actually raised. That is one concern John Obi Mikel raised in one of his podcasts. If you cannot come and play for an African country at your youthful age, when you are still, let me just say 26 and below, 26 self, you are even getting older. What have you been waiting for? But then let me just use that benchmark. If you are still within that age limit, 26 down, it's welcome. Not when you have passed 26, 28, 30, you now remember you want to go back. To such country, reject them. Do not bring them to your national team because they are not a true patriot. And to Mamadou Sarr, big ups to you and big respect. And this is a plus to African football. If we have them like this, young enough from the early stage, just like Mourinho said some time ago, if African players all return to the continent of Africa to play football, they will win the World Cup. That is a statement of fact. I agree with Jose Felix Mourinho 100%. What do you make of all the reports? Drop your thoughts down below. Thank you very much for watching. Do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. Bye.